Unless you've been living under a rock for the past 10 years, chances are you've heard of this little channel called Mr. Beast. He's the most subscribed to channel on YouTube, and he likes to talk really loudly in his videos. But recently, Mr. Beast has branched out from YouTube and partnered with Mr. Bezos to bring us the Beast Games, which supposedly is the largest game show in television history, so we'll see about that. But with the holiday season rolling around, people just don't have time to watch the Beast Games, but luckily, I have nothing better to do. But before we get into the first episode, it's worth mentioning that Miso Beef has gotten into a little bit of controversy regarding the Beast Games. If you're interested in it, there's hundreds of videos about it, but I want this to be a completely objective review of the show, so going forward, I'm not going to be mentioning anything regarding the drama. Understood? Good. If you have a problem with it, cry. The show starts as any good Mr. Beast video should, with Jimmy yelling about the premise of the show, which, you guessed it, is about competing for money. $5 million to be exact, which is
the largest grand prize in entertainment history.
And this is one of the things I noticed instantly about this show, but a lot of parts of this show feel more like a YouTube video than a television show. I'm sure that's what they're going for because Mr. Beast obviously has like a very retention YouTube edited style, but it feels a little bit off in a television setting. I'm not saying it ruins the show or anything, but I wasn't really expecting it going into the show. Then we were introduced to the 1,000 people that are going to be competing for the prize money. And apparently this is a record-breaking number of contestants. They actually started with 2,000 people, and Mr. Beast uploaded a video where he eliminated half of those people to get the 1,000 contestants for this show, but that's not part of the Beast Games, so I'm not gonna be talking about it. And I have to say, the set for this show is really cool. They really went all out on it, and it definitely pays off. I mean, I think it would have been funnier if they just threw 1,000 people onto a grass field and said fight it out, but this is better. Next, they introduce us to the contestants of the show, and this is where, I don't know if it's necessarily a flaw, but one of the problems with how the show is done shows itself. You know, think of a game show like Survivor. It's a limited number of contestants, and so you really get to know each and every one of them. You have someone to root for. Naturally, there's villains and heroes of the story. But with the Beast Games, there's 1,000 contestants, and so you get to know absolutely none of them. Maybe they have a couple one-liners here and there, but I don't even know the names of any of these people. And because of that, you're not really rooting for anybody, you're just sort of watching the events unfold. And I'm sure the longer the show goes on and more people are eliminated, it kind of solves the problem. But it's something to note because it does definitely take away from the viewing experience, in my opinion. From there, the show enters its main flow, rapidly switching from game to game, similar to your typical Mr. Beast video. The first game isn't really much of a game, but Mr. Beast offers $1 million to anyone willing to leave the game before the game even starts. The catch is that more than one person can leave, and every person who decides to leave has to evenly split the money. In the end, they all receive less than $20,000. If I was the guy who left first, I would be pissed. Then we got this game where each row is divided into a team, and in order for each row to advance,
someone must sacrifice themselves, meaning that they will have to, at their own will, walk away from $5 million just so some of you can continue competing in these games.
And the last 3 rows to have somebody eliminate themselves, all of the people in those rows get eliminated. Basically, it's like a self-sacrifice game. And as you can guess, chaos ensues.
Come on, guys, or we're all gonna go! Press it! Press it!
It's honestly really funny to see everybody yelling at each other to eliminate themselves without actually willing to do it themselves. It seems like some sort of study they would do in like a lab about human psychology or something. It's crazy to see, honestly. But inevitably, the last row presses the button, and so the final 3 are eliminated. And I have to say, it's kind of hard to watch all the people be upset that they lost. I mean, I get that they just lost their chance to win $5 million, but like, they get so sad. I don't want to see this. I didn't even do anything, and I genuinely feel like, I feel bad. I feel like I did this to them. Then everyone drops to what I can only assume is their death. And we get one of those moments I was talking about where this feels a lot more like a YouTube video than a television show. Mr. Beast does the classic, make sure you keep watching this video because we got all this crazy stuff coming up and you can't miss it. And I mean, I guess it helps people stay hooked on the show, but it just feels off in a television setting. I've never seen something like this done before in a show like this, so it's just interesting. It's weird. Also, no hate to Carl, but I almost burst out laughing when he walked into frame here. I didn't realize they had like the whole Mr. Beast crew here, and so it was just really surreal to see these people in like a television setting. It's crazy to see how far YouTube has come. Next, the contestants have to build these block towers, and if your tower falls over, you're eliminated. And I'm sorry, but half of these people deserve to be eliminated. Like, what the hell is this? They also kept showing these people trying to help each other and tell them which side to put the blocks on, but if I was there, I would have been sabotaging the hell out of people. Like, I don't care. Their tower would be leaning to the left, and I would say, yeah, stack more stuff on the left. That's gonna help. Then the timer is over. They eliminate the first 100 towers that fell, and at this point, they have already eliminated 400 people, which is insane. This is episode 1. They also apparently got this record-breaking security camera setup so they can monitor every single person and make sure they don't miss anything. This will be important later on. Don't forget about it. Then for the final game before they move on to Beast City, which we'll get into that in a moment, they're divided into rows again, but this time bribes are being made to the people in the rows. A person can choose to take the money, but as a consequence, it will eliminate everybody in their row. And they do this until 500 or less people are left. And if I'm being real, I would have taken the money here. There was no way I'm getting to the $5 million at the end. Also, this guy for some reason went out at $20,000. Like, he knew the money was gonna go up, but he decided to take the 20,000. I don't understand. With 493 people left, we head to Beast City, which is this giant city they built for the contestants of the show to live in. And once again, the set here looks amazing. Then the contestants are told to each grab a coin, and the coins are all numbered 1 through 4, with each number representing what floor of this parking garage looking structure they're going to be competing on, with each floor being a different game. I have no clue how they come up with this stuff. I literally would have just tossed them a game of Candyland and said have at it. They're allowed to trade coins with each other, which screws some people over. And then we get to the first game, where red balls are dropped from above and the contestants have to catch them all without letting a single ball touch the ground. It's honestly really funny because they spend so much time strategizing how they're gonna catch like 100 or 200 balls. They're gonna have like catchers and ball holders and all this stuff, and then they only get to ball number 4 before one of the teams drops it. But actually, remember how I mentioned earlier that there's that security camera system? Well, they review the footage and the very first ball hit the ground. They didn't even get past ball number 1. So that team is eliminated, and then we move on to the next game, which is another self-elimination game. There's 2 teams, and whichever team has the most amount of people at the end gets eliminated. So basically you have to choose to eliminate yourself for the greater good. They're also allowed to make phone calls to the other team, and shenanigans ensue.
They had worked out a plan to manipulate the other team.
The strategy for the conversation is to convince them, let's get to the tiebreaker. Okay. If nobody eliminates anybody right now, we'll get to the tiebreaker.
You guys are asking us not to eliminate anybody, correct?
Both teams had agreed to not eliminate anyone, which is funny because white team already had a person out.
Next, they play this giant game of beer pong, and there's also this golden cup where if you throw the ball into there, you get $250,000 instantly for no cost except for like missing a point, I guess. If that was me, I would have gone for it. And then on the final floor, they play a game of trivia with the easiest questions known to mankind.
What group has the most #1 songs on Billboard's Hot 100? The correct answer is the Beatles. Biggest animal on our planet. Blue whale. Blue whale. Both got it correct.
Alaska.
Both got it correct. Terrace. Both got it right.
In fact, they're so easy that they literally have to bring out another set of questions that are more difficult. And after it is all done, everybody thinks they are done with the episode, but then it is revealed that there is still one final game. I would be absolutely pissed if this was me. But honestly, this final game is one of the craziest things I have ever watched. I couldn't believe it. They split into 4 teams, and each team has to choose a team captain who they believe will be trustworthy and won't be able to be bribed by any amount of money. Then they bring the 4 team captains up to this bridge, and behind them is this giant screen which starts displaying a number of money that just keeps exponentially growing. And at any point, any one of the team captains can press the button and they can keep all of the money and they can stay in the game, but their team gets eliminated.
Start the money counter!
$1,000 press, and the number just keeps growing and growing, and it gets to $1 million, and nobody hits the button. I don't get it. Nobody hits the button. It's there for like 20 seconds. They all just stand there. They just idly stand there doing nothing. I would have hit the button. I don't care. I don't care. My team can go home. I'll never see them again. I don't care. But that's as far as the Beast game goes for now. I forgot to record this part, so enjoy this Roblox Mr. Beast obby footage here. We can even put some Subway Surfers on the side. But controversy aside, I honestly think this show is getting more hate than it deserves. As I already said, it's far from perfect. It's basically just a big Mr. Beast video with a much higher budget. Apparently, he even had his own team edit the show, which explains a lot of the weird choices in it. I think some of the games maybe could have been more interesting, but really the biggest problem is just its lack of personality. personality. There's just too many contestants on the show for its own good. It's impossible to relate to any of them when they're all only on screen for 0.5 seconds. But I think the big lesson here today is that if you're ever in a Mr. Beast video, you do not want me on your team. I would steal all of your money and have zero regrets.
Please stop asking to have Mr. Beast burger for dinner.